Good morning. I wanted to get on here. So something came across my desk this morning, and I've been still trying to decipher everything. And it seems to me that this wouldn't necessarily be a good thing for us as Oregonians, and definitely not something that's good for our kids. And so that's why I'm kind of bringing it to your attention. A lot of you guys have kids that are in the public schools. I think this is really really important for you guys to understand what they're trying to do, and obviously make your voices be heard. And so, I've been kind of going through this and trying to figure out what it all means. There's a lot of stuff that's in this link that I posted that really is not within the scope of the government. It should not be the government's job to be telling our kids. They should not be talking about sexuality in the third grade. There's garbage. Okay. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to, play parent here. And, they're talking about, firearm safety. I didn't know the Department of Education knew anything about firearm safety. And the problem I have with it is just the way it's probably got a spin to it. It's probably got a slant. I'm not sure where the curriculum comes from. I'm still trying to track all that down. And so it's just something that I want on your radar. We have a couple of weeks to weigh in. If you guys want to weigh in, I think it would be important to do so. And hey there, I'm still not. If you guys can hear me, please let me know. That's what kind of gets this stream out. One second. Yeah. That's kind of that's what I'm afraid of is, there's certain programs that I've seen out there is, basically their idea of keeping your kids safe is actually removing all your firearms from the house. And so I don't believe that's not going to do anything to keep your kids safe. Obviously, education is really, really important. And so I think that this is kind of it's a more of a information war that they're trying to put on us. And so we have to kind of push back. Now we have to make sure that we're involved with this process. The best thing you could do is pull your kids out of the public schools and homeschool or put them in a charter school. That's what I highly encourage. I know not everybody has that luxury, but the people that are doing that, I mean, thank you. And so that's kind of where I'm at is we got to make sure that, we understand, this is a battle for the next generation. And the only way that we can, win this fight is by being involved. And so we got to make our voices be heard, just like when we're, writing into the legislature. There's stuff that I put in this link that I posted that totally unacceptable. And there's no way that a third grader should be taught, any form of sexuality and about intercourse and everything like that. That's not the right age, from my opinion. Now, obviously, this is my opinion, and so it comes down to the parents. Like, do parents feel comfortable allowing that? I don't see why anybody would. And so, yeah, for sure, this is a bill that I can get behind right here. And there's great right here is that we should be protecting our kids this way. And so that's kind of the thing that I want you guys to be aware of is they continue to, it's more of like a social experiment with our children. And, obviously we're a gun group and I focus heavily on, stuff that affects gun ownership. But I feel in this situation, I'm not sure what their curriculum is, and I'm not sure what they're going to be pushing when it comes to firearm safety. Well, I want to see firearm safety taught in the schools because I think it's really, really important. That's something I've dedicated my life to. I got to understand who the messenger is going to be. And if it is it going to be like a Mom's Demand type or Everytown type curriculum that's going to say, hey, the best way to keep your kids safe is to get rid of your guns. And that's not something I'm going to support. And so I think that's definitely, because we got to look at the next generation of future gun owners. They have to be taught, safety, discipline, responsibility for firearms, because that's the only way we're going to protect our Second Amendment rights is by making sure that we're engaging with our kids, we're teaching our kids the right way. And also with these rights come great responsibility. So that means they have to know civics, they have to know, how they protect their gun rights. And so that's something that I feel is really, really important for us to be involved here. And obviously it's not 100% gun related, but there's a bit and a piece that it's going to be gun related. And I feel that it's important enough that we should have our voices be heard. And that's why I want to bring it to your attention. And so, that's kind of where I'm at. If we do not engage, they control the microphone and we lose again. And so that's kind of where I'm at here. And so, that's, I'm hoping that all makes sense. And I know that people come here because they want to be part of the gun, the gun debate and the gun rights movement. And they have to understand that not every one of these little skirmishes that we have is going to be like this big, like, court battle or a battle in the legislature. And, from this situation, I'm not going to be talking politics here, Kyle. This is like, we're not going to be, I mean, obviously everyone's entitled to their opinion, but that's not the point of this live stream. This live stream is about, policy and the way policy's being crafted that puts all of us in a position where our rights are going to be further infringed upon, and definitely our kids their rights are going to be infringed upon. And so that's where I want you guys to kind of see this as, obviously this is just a smaller skirmish battle, but it's something in the big picture, it's something that's really, really important. And so, that's kind of where I'm at. And I hope that makes sense. And because I know people are here because they want to be involved with, guns and fighting this stuff. But I feel that, this is just another battle that's just going to be on a different front. And we have all these different fronts. One thing to know about the DOE is, so they're involved with the teachers unions, right? The teachers unions is definitely the most powerful union in Oregon. And no, yeah, no problem. No problem, Kyle. No problem. And so, I just want to make sure that, I'm not getting in the weeds, because I want to keep everybody on track and understand that, this is obviously when we're talking about our kids and protecting our kids, their minds, and, the content that they see and stuff that's moral. And, that's where it's a full-time job for us. And so that's why, just making sure that you're present in their days and make sure that you can kind of defrag their little minds, because, school's getting ready to start back up. And that's where all of this stuff is going to come up and go at them. And so just something to think about here. And so what I'll do is I'm going to put the link to this into the body of this. I'll also put there's a link to like a questionnaire that you can make your voice be heard. And I feel that my question would be for the DOE is what's the curriculum? Okay. So we're talking about firearm safety. What is the curriculum? And so is it non-political? Is it something that does not either encourage gun ownership or discourage gun ownership? That's what I would look at. And if it's not, that's a problem. If it pushes too far to one side, then it's not something that really should be taught in the schools. One thing we have to realize in our public schools is there's many families that don't own guns. That's fine. That's their right to do so. The problem is there's many families that do own firearms. And so I feel that we have to have an equal voice in this situation. And so, that's why I'm kind of bringing this stuff up, is to make sure that, all of our voices are heard. We have just as much value in this debate as people that do not have guns or are afraid of guns. But I feel that if we don't weigh in, that's how they win. And so that's why I kind of want it on your radar and make sure you guys understand, what's truly at stake here. And it's what they're trying to do is they are trying to transform our educational system. They're also trying to change our 2A rights into the next generation, right? So if they get enough enough kids where they can kind of indoctrinate, kind of like David Hogg here, right? So David Hogg is a prime example. And I don't know if you guys have been following anything he's been doing lately, but he's now a gun owner. Now he's shooting trap. Now he is, it's all a facade. He's all trying to pretend that he is on our side, but he's not on our side. He is very, very divisive. He's just uses his platform to just further restrict. And so, there's a lot of teens, there's a lot of people that are not into guns and maybe follow him, and maybe that's where they get their worldly views in on firearms. And so that's the thing, is we have to make sure that we push back on that. We make sure we educate our kids and say, hey, this is a rifle. This is what this rifle does. This is for hunting, sporting, defensive purposes, right? And so with this rifle, comes great responsibility. So you got to maintain it. You got to know how to use it. You got to make sure that you're safe with it. But you also have to understand is when you become 18, you have to know that your vote helps protect your ability to have this rifle. And so that's where I'm getting at here is, we have, a lot of us, we're complacent. We're apathetic. We don't do all the things that we should do because we're busy. And I get it. It's common. It's common where we're so busy about going through our lives that we don't necessarily do all the things that we need to do when it comes to civics and our civic duties. So, Dylan, this is a really, really important thing right here. So, there's a lot of great home schools out there. There's a lot of great charter schools out there, faith-based schools. I would recommend those over the public schools. There's a lot, depending on where you're living, there's lots of great opportunities. And so, I just think that, you just got to do your homework, and just know that if you're putting your kids in the public school, that public school doesn't have your kids' best interests in mind. And what I mean by that is we're not teaching, math, we're not teaching reading, we're not teaching history, we're teaching all of this garbage. And you can see from that link that I posted all the stuff that they're trying to advise. They're trying to talk about lots of equity, which I think equity is important, but I feel that it has to be moderated, right? So it shouldn't be, our kids shouldn't come home from school feeling ashamed because of the color of their skins. I feel that there has to be balance, and I don't feel that the people that are writing this stuff really think about that. I think that they definitely have agendas, and that's where you got to be careful. And so that's why I'm bringing it up to your attention. So hope that all makes sense. It's something that's really, really important. And going forward, it's going to be really, really more important is we're up to date with this stuff. And so a couple of things that we do have going. There's been a couple rulings. I did see magazine capacity overruled out of DC last week, which is a good thing for us here in Oregon. We're actively, working and prepping for trial, which is coming up in a couple weeks in Harney County. That's going to be interesting. I feel that, from the information that I have, I feel that we're moving the right direction there. And I feel that we're going to make, do what we need to do. And so, you just got to make sure we stay up to date and just know that, if we win in Harney County, which I feel pretty good about, I'm not going to count my chickens before they hatch, but we have to realize this will be appealed. And so no matter what happens, this is not going to be the end of this. And I think one of the benefits that we have going for us, and I need to check the Oregon State. Give me 1 second. Hang on 1 second. I want to check the Oregon State Sheriff's Association, because this is going to be great if this worked out. Okay, so we're gonna go home. Okay, so it's still up. Okay. So they haven't pulled it yet, which I was hoping they would. So what I was referring to is I got word last week that the Oregon State Sheriff's Association voted on all 38 or 36 sheriffs voted to pull off that website, or pull that link to the class off the website, which is a great thing for us, because that proves that nobody has the ability to take this permit to purchase program class. And so that way, when we're going into court, we're going to be in better shape. And so what happened there is nothing was pulled off the website, which is, it's good or bad. I mean, in reality, they don't have the program ready. So when we go into court, and that's part of what this is going to be, the trial is going to be about is the permit to purchase program. And so the fact is, the state of Oregon's been almost a year now, and they do not have the permit to purchase program ready to go. And so that's good for us, so that part probably is going to die, which is good for us because we do not want any of that nasty stuff. So yeah, I mean, so that's kind of where I'm at. So there's people talking politics. So all I want to see here, do your research. Okay. Do your research. Okay. Understand, do we want career politicians? Do we want somebody fresh? Like, that's kind of my frustration. I don't want to get too political about it because I feel that it's too early. But I also don't want people totally making up their decisions off of one single link. And I think there's a lot that goes into this conversation going into the future, especially the next election cycle. And I mean, we definitely have to win. We have no room for a loss. Okay. We cannot have either a Joe Biden victory or a Gavin Newsom victory. Those two would really be bad for all of us. And I feel that Joe Biden's going to be replaced. And I feel that, just now they're trying to change the narrative. They're worried about his health. And so, oh, no worries. Yeah, no worries, Jacob. I'm just kind of babbling right now. So what I want to talk about is, I put a link earlier, which you might not have seen, is how the Department of Education is coming up with these guidelines. And these guidelines are going to be open for us to kind of weigh in. And so what I'm recommending is we weigh in and say, hey, what's this curriculum like? We're talking about firearm safety. Like, I didn't know the Department of Education knows anything about firearm safety. So where's this information coming from? My guess would be it would be coming from, Be Smart, which is by Moms Demand Action or Everytown. And so basically in that program, it talks about what to do if they come across a gun, which is fine, right? But it also says the best way to keep our kids safe is to get rid of your guns. And so that is a myth. There's no myth out there, that there's no data that would support the fact that me, surrendering or getting rid of my firearms is going to keep my kids safe. That's a myth. Okay. My firearms serve a purpose. They're to protect my kids. Okay. They protect against home invasion. They protect against, violent crime, so that's the point of my firearms. And so it shouldn't be the state telling us how we should have firearms inside of our home. So that's kind of my thing. So I think that we need to make sure that we weigh in on this. I'll try to make it as easy as I possibly can. I'm going to continue to read, and I've tried to highlight some of the stuff. Some of the stuff is when we get to third grade. Also, when we get to eighth grade, it's talking about violence and what was kind of piqued my interest is there's a common theme. You'll see it from Gavin Newsom. What he's doing with his 28th Amendment is everybody has the right to be free from violence. That was cited a couple times in there. And so when I see that, my ears perk up because, that's a typical leftist talking point where they're trying to, basically take away your ability to defend yourself legally. And so that's why, this is stuff that we should not have the kids being taught. Kids should be taught and be able to make up their own decisions as opposed to being influenced by the teachers unions. And that's my things. Yeah, they don't care. They're with them, FBC, and it's the last couple weeks, everything they put out is F you no. It's all been memes. It's nothing like FPC is not coming to save us. And so, we have to just be aware of that. We're better off focusing on these little organizations as opposed to ones that are, chasing these high profile, court battles. And so that's kind of where we're at. I feel that we would probably have a bigger reach here in Oregon with this group as opposed to, if we were to involve like FPC, because this is not something that's sexy for FPC. This is something that, this is a policy thing. And the best way we can stop the policies is making sure we have our voices be heard. I'm going to kind of start working on with Chat GPT and kind of see what I can do and see if I can pump out like 1,000 emails with different, content where I could just click and paste and put it in there. That's kind of what I'm going to try to do, just to kind of help. But it's just something, we have to be aware of, and we have to be part of this, because if we don't, we're going to continue to lose. And so what they're going to do is they're going to scare your kids. They're going to tell your kids that, guns are bad. You shouldn't have any guns, So that's where we have to be really, really careful there. So we have to make sure that our kids know that our guns serve a purpose. They are good. There are no such thing as bad guns, only bad gun owners, right? And it's not us. So that's, yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, that's the thing there. The problem with that is, they don't like us hunting, so there's just so much to this, and there's just so much to this information. And I was talking to one of the reps today about this, and like they had a bill this year. Our bill would have authorized this education that's been vetted. It's been, 28,000 kids have been through our program with zero accidents. It's been vetted by doctors, have been vetted through families, and they didn't bite on it. They didn't say, hey, this is something that we can endorse and support. So, you can't say you're about solutions if you had a solution, it was right under your nose, yet you didn't act on it. So, that's kind of the frustration that I have here. And so, but I'm not going to let my ego get in the way. I'm going to make sure that I still, what's that curriculum look like? Let's make sure that it's something that is accurate. Let's make sure it's something that's relevant, and let's make sure it's something that will work to help protect kids. If it does, then that's fine, and we can accept that. But let's see it before this thing goes into effect, and so, that's what's really, really important. So you guys can read that stuff. You guys can read it. It goes from kindergarten all the way to high school. There's a lot of stuff about gender. There's a lot of stuff about, like violence. There's a little bit about suicide, which I think when we're getting into middle school, I think that's really, really important to talk about, because there's a big suicide numbers, in that age group, so that's really, really important to know about. And so there is some stuff that I do agree with, but there's some stuff that I'm like, whoa, we should not be teaching third graders about intercourse, and that's, so, that's kind of my thing is, there's some of the stuff is too extreme. So make your voice be heard. Make sure you say no to this. And what I'll do is I'll put all the information here where you guys can get involved. Maybe I'll do some screenshots on some of the stuff that I find the most offensive. And so it'll make it easier for you guys, and you guys can kind of kind of figure out, how you guys can get involved. And so, that's kind of where we're at. So other than that, how's everybody doing? Hope everybody's well. I'm looking forward to just kind of getting this whole trial behind us and getting back to somewhat normal. It's pretty easy to go buy a gun now. So if you want to go buy a gun, go support those local shops. There's been a kind of a slowdown when it comes to purchasing of guns, but you can go do it today or whenever in the next couple days. And there's really nobody in the queue. And so it's weird how the Oregon State Police has kind of freed up the queue. So if you want to go buy a gun, it's easy to go do so. Buy your magazines, buy your ammunition. Oh, since I have you here, has anybody seen anything? This is going to go kind of in a different direction. Have you been seeing anything about the mask mandates and COVID? Have you been watching that? They are actively trying to bring this stuff back. And so since I have you here, what are we going to do about this? What are we going to do? Are we going to allow them to further restrict us? And so that's one thing I want kind of on your radar is what they're trying to do. And so, they are, they're going to try to push this again. And I'm seeing things, and this is not set in stone. I'm seeing it could be the end of September when they're using the TSA, and obviously this is nothing that's set in stone. I'm just bringing this up for conversation. And the new variant. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I've had it twice. So I mean, I've got immunity, right? I'm not going to get the vaccine. It's my personal opinion. I'm not going to wear a mask, and so I just need to know that we're all on the same page here, and we're all going to push back together. So obviously, this stuff is getting kind of in the weeds here, and it's out of the kind of the scope of the gun group. But I feel that, if we all network together, maybe there's enough of us where we can push back and say, no, this is not going to work. And so, that's where we're kind of at. So yeah, I haven't seen anything about a lead ammunition ban on federal lands. If you could send me that link, Jacob, I'd appreciate that. That way I can kind of check into it. Trial is going to it starts on the 18th, which is a Monday, and it's scheduled to go to the 25th of September. And that's going to be in Harney County in Burns, Oregon. And so it will be streamed live. And so, you'll be able to watch it at home. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there Monday and Tuesday of the trial. Then I have to come home because I'm going to Arizona that week. So I've just got a lot going on, but I'll be there for the first couple days to kind of see, show support and, basically, see the folks over there, see our friends over there. So it's a great place. So, we have to be aware of what's happening, right? Is the newest variant, which is, I'm not sure what the survivability rate will be, but it'll probably be 99%. So we cannot fall for it again. They gave us, they took 2 years of our lives, and I'm still angry and bitter about it. So never again. And so I will make you a promise. We are going to stand together, and we just want to make sure that we keep this stuff in front of us. And so we can tell our neighbors, our friends, to make sure that we're all on the same page. So, and obviously this is not necessarily a gun thing, but it's something that I've been really watching, and I'm getting mad actually. So I'm working on some messaging that I'm going to put out hopefully the next day or so on my position on mask mandates and vaccines, and definitely when it comes to kids, I'm definitely going to plant that flag. But obviously listen to your doctor. I mean, obviously it's personal liberty, personal freedoms, and it's just my choice. Absolutely. 100%. 100%. And so I think with this one, it's really, really important to know is mandate is not law. Okay. So emergency declarations are not law. And so I think what we didn't do as well the first time is we didn't understand. We let them control us by us not standing together. And I feel that, especially with a group this size, if we could come together and have a united voice when it comes to this stuff, maybe it'll be a little bit more effective, and we can maybe we can get other groups involved, and so that way we have a bigger front. And so, oh, okay, okay, cool. Thank you, Jacob. I saw that, so I appreciate that. I'll check it out as soon as I get off here. So I'm gonna check it out. That they've been trying to do that for years, and in other parts where they're try to ban lead ammunition because of obviously the way it affects the food chain. And I, I'm skeptical. I feel obviously I don't want to ingest lead, but I don't think it is as bad of a problem as they're trying to make it out to be. I think a lot of it comes down to control. One thing I would focus on if we're going into another lockdown is obviously your ammunition supply. Remember like the last 2 years ago when we had lockdown, toilet paper flew off the shelves, also ammunition flew off the shelves, our components flew off the shelves. So, really, really important if you do any kind of reloading or if your ammo supply isn't up to snuff, make sure that you're buying ammo because everything's pretty readily available right now. And so I just put it in ammo cans, keep it acclimated. It's not going to go bad, just so you have it. And so, primers the same thing, powders the same thing, casings, bullets, projectiles, just be prepared. And so part of our lifestyle when it comes to gun ownership is, preparation, right? It's that mental preparation. And so, it doesn't hurt us to have extras, and so obviously I'm not thinking of like a war type situation. I'm thinking of it if I don't have enough ammo, I can't train, right? So if I can't train, I can't be proficient with my skills. My skills diminish, and so that's something that I want to be focused on is making sure I have the ability. Dry fire training, we can do that. That's really, really important stuff to do. And not that way I'm not wasting any kind of ammunition. So there's a lot that goes into this. Also medical training, right? So if anybody is medically trained, that's a really, really important thing to know. Most stop the bleed classes, they're free. And that talks about using tourniquets, gauze, plugging wounds, stuff like that. So this is all really, really important stuff to know. And so, that's kind of where I'm at. So part of what we're doing is just making sure that everybody is of an asset to society, right? Not a liability. So I talked a lot about a lot of different things. I was kind of on a rant today. So thank you for tuning in. But just make sure, have your house in order, and have your decision made on what you're going to do, whether you're going to comply or not comply. And there's nothing wrong with complying. If you feel like it's a health thing for you and you feel safer that way, I'm not shaming you. I just know what I'm going to do when it comes to this stuff. I'm going to do whatever I can to push back on this because, we could, tinfoil hat type stuff. We could say that this is another way for them to try to influence the elections like they did last time. And, another thing I'd be mindful of is what, the protests, right? We had big time protests. So, kind of watch out for, things that can lead to those types of things happening and be aware of that. So, there's a lot to it. There's a lot that goes into this thing, and a lot of it is outside influences that affect policy, affect our elections, and affect our state. So, lots to kind of think about. So, let me check this out for you. Yeah. So, okay, Oregonians for medical freedom. I'll check that out. Um, Yeah, please do. And this is something, Callista, if you have a group, this is where we should all figure out how we obviously this is a gun group, and I'm going to focus heavily on gun rights, but there's a lot of stuff that where we have overlap. And I feel with the overlap is, this is where our lanes could kind of, we can grow our lanes. And so, really, really important is to know that, how firearms ownership actually prevents, tyranny. And so that's, obviously I'm not saying that we're going to be violent or anything like that, but the fact is they can't force me into something because and force me to be compliant because I have the ability to defend myself and protect myself. And so I feel that, that's where we come together and we kind of obviously outreach to other groups and help shore each other up to make sure that we have this big unified front that says no more, no more. You fooled us one time. I remember not being able to see my mom for Thanksgiving because of this stuff. And it's something that really, really hurt my feelings and really hurt, because of, what Governor Brown did, where we couldn't all be together. And, a lot of it is I should have said this, right? I should have given the old bird. And a lot of it, I was just trying to navigate this stuff like you guys were. And it was something that we've never ever, that was uncharted territory for all of us. And so I didn't know. I was trying to, obviously my mom was freaked out. And so that's why I was trying to be respectful of that. But I was definitely not as forceful as I should have been when it comes to this stuff. And I learned from that situation. There's improvements that I made in my life when it comes to my preparations and obviously my stance on this stuff. And that's where, I'm not going to fall for this stuff again. And I know, I don't want to talk, all of it about COVID. I just want it on your radar. And so, yeah, Callista, send me a PM. Let's figure out what we can do to work together on this. And if you guys have a group, let's work together to kind of push back on this stuff and make sure that, because we shut down businesses. There was, we had record suicides in this. There was so much different stuff that went into this whole mandate, and a lot of people lost their livelihoods. Our kids were, altered, and so there was so much that went into this, and so I think, that's going to absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the biggest thing here is to better choices that work for each of us. So individual liberty, right? So if I want to wear a mask, that's my right to do so. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you feel that it's going to help you. The problem I have is when there were so many different things that went into that. So we had to wear a mask. I could wear a mask into a restaurant. I could walk 10 feet, sit down, and then take the mask off. It's just, it was kind of comical. And so, that's kind of where I want to be mindful of that, and so, but it comes down to personal, liberty. And I feel that, I'm not going to go through that again. That was a pretty traumatic experience for all of us and definitely hard on the kids. And so we definitely want to make sure that as parents and as adults and as freedom loving Oregonians, we're going to stand together. And no matter what that looks like, I don't know what it looks like. So, but I just want you guys to kind of have it on your radar. So, you know, so I'm not going to talk too much more about that. I just want to bring it up. So I appreciate you guys being positive about it. This stuff is not 100% a video about gun rights today. This is more of a kind of a hodgepodge of lots of different information. A lot of it's because I haven't been doing these daily updates or weekly updates because I've been working on other things. And so that's why some of this information is all kind of put together in this video. And so that's kind of something that we want to be mindful of is just kind of watch what's happening. Make sure you vet the information, make sure the information's a trusted source. There's a lot that goes into this stuff. So I try to be accurate with the facts that I bring you guys. So other than that, I'm going to get off here. You guys have a great day. Thanks for tuning in. And I'll put all the information in this video when it comes to the link for you guys to read this stuff. Start in kindergarten. Look at the safety section of that. Also look at the health on all of these section. It goes from kindergarten all the way to high school. And so I recommend is you check those out and find out if they work for you. If they work for you, then there's not a problem. But I feel that, you know, we need to make sure that we have our voices heard here, because I'm skeptical. So, and I guess I wouldn't be doing the children any good if I just kind of gave it a rubber stamp and let it to go into effect. So, anyways, I'm gonna get off here. Thanks for tuning in, and we will talk to you guys soon. Have a great day.